what's going on. Hello, hello, hello. Hello? Hello, hello, hello? Can you hear me? You should be able to hear me now. Hola? Thank fuck. You know what that means? I gotta reread what I just read. Welcome to Fluffy's exhibition. Welcome to the stream. The reason why that happened is because I separated the tracks. I do that for recording. That the tracks will be, so that the desktop track is on one track and the microphone track is on the other one. But for some reason, that doesn't work well when you stream. When you stream, it's just like, oh, there is no microphone. But thank you so much for telling me, because otherwise I would have just read everything here in complete silence. Like, my mouth would have moved, but nobody would have been able to hear it. So just to restart from the beginning, I'm gonna read this a bit faster now because I already did read it before. SCP-510 is called Soft Def. It's a keto. Or maybe I should just... No, let me just reread it. Okay. Instances of SCP-510 are to be treated as a level 1 infective substance and are not to be handled by anyone not in contained atmosphere hazmat comm suits. Any staff interacting with SCP-510 must be monitored for 1 month after interacting. Infestation by SCP-510 will be met with immediate quarantine and sterilization of the surrounding area. Containment units must have airtight seals on any impossible access points. Staff access is to be provided by a dual airlock, with chemical showers at each stage. Robotic surrogates are to be used whenever possible for SCP-510 interaction. All materials interacting with SCP-510 are to be sterilized and quarantined for 1 month after interaction. Seals are to be checked and repaired weekly. Any staff observation expressing elevated levels of fatigue, sleepiness, and of exhaustion are to be quarantined and tested for infestation. In the event of multi-subject infestation, site-wide lockdown will be initiated. Description: SCP-510 has thus far proven difficult to fully identify. It is possibly a form of microorganism or a form of nanite. The particles of SCP-510 appear to be surrounded by a field that causes a blurring effect at even a high magnification. Tests have come back with widely varying results, and samples have simultaneously exhibited the properties of organic and non-organic matter, as well as the properties of solids, liquids, and gases. Current research reuse has its form of mold and virus to its response to high heat and chemical sterilization. SCP-510 invests in soft surfaces such as fabric, feathers, air, hair, or foam, with the ability to remain dormant in such substances for years. If SCP-510 encounters delta waves, typically emitted by humans entering sleep, SCP-510 will activate and begin to infest any nearby organic life. Infestation follows a set progression. See Addendum 84-B, symptoms and progression, most often ending with the death of infested subject after 4 to 6 days. SCP-510 appears to prefer mammalian life for infestation, primarily human beings. Attempts to officially infest other life forms have met with very limited success. Possible application of SCP-510 in its life support functions are being researched. High heat and highly acidic chemicals have been able to dissolve SCP-510 particles. Dissolved particles leave behind no detectable residue. Addendum Document 84-B, symptoms and progression. Stage 1, infestation symptoms: exhaustion, fatigue, sleepiness, general listlessness, itchy eyes, general head pain. Description: SCP-510 begins to form string-like extrusion which ankle into the skin. Extrusions continue to grow into the skin, contracting all major organs and systems in 8 to 24 hours. Subject will grow progressively more tired during this time and will seek out quiet, dark areas in which to sleep. And now we're caught up. Basically, it's a small, tiny, little shithead of a virus that just goes into your hair and just stays there. And it's like, I'll wait till you sleep. And once you sleep, it's like, okay, now my time to shine has come. And it then makes you more and more tired until, like, yeah, you just go somewhere to fall asleep forever. It's called soft death, as I mentioned before. So it makes sense. It infests soft areas and then causes death. And now we're at this part that is the dark areas in which you sleep. Here we go. Scott. I couldn't get any sleep last night. There was something scratching from behind the walls. Sorry, gotta go back to my analytics here. It's probably just rats or something. I'll probably get checked out tomorrow. Scott. couldn't sleep again last night. That damn scratching sound came up again. This time it was all over the place, like it was going through the walls and ceiling. I seriously have to call somebody about this. That damn scratching won't stop. I called over the landlord and an exterminator. They gave my room and the entire floor a thorough inspection. I heard screaming in the background, short of knocking holes through the walls. They said they couldn't find any evidence of pests anywhere. Well, fuck them. At least the inspection was free. Actually, wait. I hope you guys heard that. Fucking hell, it's still there. I borrowed some plastic ceiling spray from one of my neighbors. I'm not sure how he happened to have several cans of the stuff laying around. It just seems a bit too convenient from the way he acted. It looked as if it wasn't the first time he's done something like this. Maybe... No, it's just my imagination. I didn't sleep that night. I spent the whole time sealing every possible crack and hole in my apartment. I don't want to risk that damn whatever it is crawling into my room. Fuck. I think the thing must have crept in while I was out. I can hear it scratching around on the inside of my room now. Oh god, I think it's coming closer. Aye. It's in my head eating my thoughts. 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 Transcript of autopsy report. Dr. Blank. Alright. Subject is a blank-year-old Caucasian male. Cause of death unknown at this time. Dr. Blank. But look at him. His head. Doctor. Blank. I know you're new here, but please refrain from making unprofessional statements during the autopsy. Severe trauma in the top half of the subject's skull. Scratch marks on the wound suggest that the trauma was self-inflicted and done by hand. The blood, skin, hair, and bone fragments found under the subject's fingernails correlates with the hypothesis. He scratched his own brains out? That's a very blunt way to put it, but yes. This seems like what happened, does it? But you can never be too sure. Let's continue. Oh boy. So he must have actually heard the virus like drilling into his head. So even though it's a microorganism, it seems to be loud enough, or maybe it's just loud enough for this guy that he can actually like hear it's just like into your head. And that's always when you try to sleep too, so that will make you paranoid to go to bed. Okay. Here we have the other stages. So that's the infestation stage. We haven't even reached the actual... So I wonder if the guy we just read about was actually infected, like fully. Or if he's just... I don't know. If he was just at the first stage and he realized that soon enough and tried to like stop it, but... The way to stop it for him was by literally scratching his own brains out, which, okay. Stage 2, initial manifestation. Symptoms, deep coma, pillow formation by SCP-510 on the body, progressive invasion of biological systems, nervous, cardiovascular, respiratory, etc. Description, SCP-510 forms large pillow-like growths on the body. These growths are warm and emit a soft light, with a texture described as microfiber plush. Subjects slip into a deep coma, becoming totally unresponsive to any and all outside stimuli. SCP-510 will start to take over biological systems, causing blood, neural activity, and even oxygen to pass through the growth before being returned to the subject. It has been observed that subject in this stage enters a dream state more vivid than standard REM sleep. Pill-like growth though, like how does that work? Like because usually pills are like huge. So, like does it just like, is it like the shape of a pillow? Like basically, does it basically like look like this? But it's like way smaller. It just has like the pill-like shape, or is it actually this size and it's just like. Like just comes out the stomach like this, like just all you see is this while the guy's asleep, you know, like, just so it's like. I mean, what else will it mean? Okay. Stage 3, full manifestation. Total dependence on SCP-510 for all biological functions. Bonding of the skin with SCP-510. Slow reduction in mental activity. Description: SCP-510 takes full control of all biological functions for the host organism. Damage to the growth at this point will result in the immediate death of the host, as the growths are now performing all biological functions for the body. Yeah. A form of accelerated atrophy sets in, with muscular and skeletal structures beginning to weaken and shrink, and total shutdown of most organs. Subjects are observed to lose 44% of their body mass during this stage. SCP-510 will directly bond to the skin, replacing the thin threads with larger protrusions of the growth. The brain begins to slow down and does not register any pain or awareness of these changes, showing high stimulation in areas with contentment and comfort. Stage 4 conversion. Rapid growth of SCP-510, major reduction in host physical mass, absorption of major organs and tissues by SCP-510. Host brains enters a deep dream state. Description: SCP-510 begins to compromise the basic structure of the body, absorbing organs, skin, bones, and muscles. Subject mass will be reduced to 1/10 of initial size, with only a few tissues in the brain remaining. That is gruesome. That's gruesome. That's just gross. The brain enters a state labeled deep dreaming, in which brain activity is reduced to a point that the subject may be declared legally dead. However, brain activity continues, with evidence of some sense of surroundings being recorded. This is remarkable, considering most hosts at this stage are a brain, spinal cord, and a few clumps of tissue encased in SCP-510's growth. Activity at this stage seems to be initially located in comfort and contentment centers, with activity shifting into fear and alarm centers as conversion continues. SCP-510 begins to break down into individual particles on the surface of the growths. What the hell am I reading? I thought it just go. I'm gonna put you to sleep, son. That's all I thought it was gonna do. Why do you have to make me a pillow? Stage 5 resolution and sporing. Great. Absorption of remaining tissues. Breakdown of SCP-510 into individual particles. Description: SCP-510 absorbs the remaining tissues, including the brain, over a period of 12 to 14 hours. Brain scans show highly elevated levels of activity, consistent with extreme fear or pain, and at this point, which slowly shift back into a more relaxed state as the brain is absorbed. After full absorption, SCP-510 will break down into individual particles, with a full breakdown of the growths after 3 hours. Particles will then float in the air until making contact with its receptive surface. Wow, okay. I did not expect that it would make you basically into a pillow. And then just shoots out more of it. I mean, the fact that the spores, you know, that's... I kind of saw that coming, because like that's usually most SCPs have to do with infection do that anyway, so... I just assume that's gonna happen. But the fact that it's just like you just become like a pillow, like a human pillow. That something about that. I mean, in general, the idea of like growths forming from your body is just, there's something about it. There's something about it that's just unnatural to me. It's just icky. But I mean, other than that, like I do like the idea. I do like the idea that like this it infects you while you sleep. Like in the moment you sleep, it's just the SCP's like, aha, now's my time to shine. So I do like that. I think that's pretty clever. It's always interesting to see an SCP that takes away that something that it goes off with something that's considered normal or all day normal routine thing, and makes it scary. I like that. I do like that. All right. Basement cat. By the way, Amy, like what do you know how much of a delay you have by any chance? Because right now okay, how am I supposed? I don't know how to ask you right now. I mean, I could text in the same time, but because I want to make sure that you're not too far behind. And 40 minutes already passed. Jesus Christ! I can't believe that 40 minutes passed already. I'm gonna wait for an answer for you. Okay. I mean, at the end, it won't matter too much, but I just don't want to ruin your chance to have a conversation with me. Like if you're gonna ask me something and I'm like far ahead. Okay, so you just saw that. Okay, so you have the typical 25-second delay. Okay, you're good. You're good. There we go. All right. Basement cat, Euclid. Special containment procedures. When an instance of SCP-511 is identified, the affected residents shall be quarantined and will receive the next sequential site designation. Excepting one main entrance site hosting SCP-511 will have all points of possible entry or exit permanently sealed with appropriate building materials. The main entrance will remain locked at all times. Entry is permitted to Foundation personnel with written authorization from level 3 or higher. All SCP-511 sites will be equipped with remote monitoring equipment allowing for 24-hour surveillance and then continual tracking of numbers of SCP-511-1 inhabiting the site. By the way, the reason why you have a 25-second delay is because of the latency I picked. In the future, I will pick a lower latency. That way, you will be much more on time with me. At all times, one Class D personnel will be resident in the site. Personnel with this assignment are exempted from monthly termination for the duration of assignment. Candidates of this assignment shall be exclusively drawn from a population of post-menopausal women with a global clinical dementia rating of 2 or greater. Note: due to the exclusive nature of this population, 05 blank has approved recruiting from local hospice and/or nursing homes if necessary. Reference incident 1-511-11. Okay, that should be. Oh. Okay. That's down here. Never mind then. Because it's a red link, I thought it was like another page, but it's just down here. So we can just go reading on then. That's nice. Okay. The population of SCP-511-1 within a site must remain within an optimal range of 50 to blank individuals. Below this range, adult Felis domesticus should be introduced into the site to increase population to minimum levels. If population exceeds blank individual, it must be culled immediately. Any -1 found outside the containment site shall be euthanized and the remains incinerated. Any biological material leaving the containment site for testing will be handled in the accordance with standard protocols for a level 4 biohazard. All specimens are incinerated after testing is complete before coming in contact with any material from the containment site. Personnel must be inoculated for influenza, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, blank, tetanus, tick-borne encephalitis, and blank. Full medical workups are mandatory on a bi-weekly basis for personnel working with SCP-511. You definitely have my interest. I am. This is a description that, for me at least, didn't explain too much what the SCP is about, because usually, like, the containment procedures, usually they say something and you have like a sort of idea. Like when they say like, oh, no human with like a hazmat suit is allowed to go in here, then you know, like, okay, it's some sort of disease that is can easily be transferred, or if it says something like keep the lights on, you're like, okay, if the lights are off, then something will happen, and you can make your own conclusion. But this one, I am very intrigued what it actually is. Description. Instances of SCP-511 typically occur within residential structures with a block or stone foundation that includes a basement or crawl space. I already hated the fact that it needs a basement. Like, if you watch any horror movies, basement or crawl space, that's just immediately means disaster. I'm pretty sure the amount of people that got traumatized from watching horror movies that take place in the basement and have their own basement, and they're like, they just look at it and like, oh shit, now I'm scared of my own basement that I had for like all these years. Not only that, but there's just something eerie about basements to begin with, you know, like it's underground, it's always dark, it's always pretty moist down there, and like if somebody manages to get to like just sneak in, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that somebody is down there. So yeah, it's basements are just creepy in general. All attempts to remove an instance of SCP-511 from such a residence have proved ineffective. Interview 511-A, that's also down there. SCP-511 is always found associated with a colony of feral Felis domesticus, common domestic cats. Yeah, that makes sense. Members of this colony are designated -1. Okay, so this SCP is connected with the cats. Don't miss the basement. Absolutely not. Yeah, when I had a basement in one of the houses, every time I wanted to go down, I took my dog with me. I had a German Shepherd, so I would just take her with me. Sometimes she wouldn't come with me at all because like she just doesn't see the point. Until I would always like yell my cat's name out, and that would make my German Shepherd always like, oh, the cat's down there, wanna play? Oh man, I miss her so much. SCP-511 is a mass of biological matter taking the form of a large feline, often with extra limbs. Let me read that one more time, just to make sure I read that correctly. Is a mass of biological matter taking the form of a large feline, often with extra limbs, eyes, mouths, or other organs. Oh, if you're a cat lover, this is then you're gonna hate this one. It is typically covered with dirt, blood, and fecal matter, making its fur appear black despite its actual coloring. Tests have shown SCP-511's fur to actually be a random patchwork of various feline coat patterns, colors, and length. SCP-511 mass varies from 10 kilograms to over 50. This is a heavy dude. This is a heavy cat. Yeah, that's a growing teenager weight, roughly in proportion to the number of -1 in the associated colony. So the more cats are around, the heavier it is. The portion of SCP-511 that does not comprise -1 consists of other Wait, did I skip one? The tissue that makes up this mass consists primarily of the bodies of deceased -1. The portion of SCP-511 that does not comprise -1 consists of other biomass, small rodents, various plant materials, insects and insect larvae, black mold, a human dead sponge. Incorporation of dead tissue into SCP-511 does not appear to slow the normal process of decay. Different areas of SCP-511 undergo different stages of biodegradation at any given time. Some areas show little more than lividity, while other areas may show active carrion insect infestation, and some areas may even show liquefaction of tissues. Note, researchers have described SCP-511 making a purring sound. Tests have shown this sound does not originate with SCP-511, but is actually the sound of insects, most often blowflies trapped within its mass. Dr. A. Blank. Oh. Ew. Ew, that is nasty. That is nasty. It looks like a cat, but it doesn't feel like one. No, it doesn't even look like one if you think about it. Like if you look close enough, you'll be like, it's shaped like a cat, doesn't look like a cat, doesn't feel like a cat, does barely sounds like one. Reminds me of this one TikTok I saw, like where it's a promotion for a independent horror movie, and it's basically like this. They think they hear the cat outside going, meow, meow, meow. And they're like, oh, it's our cat, he's outside. And then like when they open the door and the meowing stops, and then like yell the cat's name out of the tree, this like weird little fucking like small creatures like comes out of nowhere and runs at them, and they of course immediately run into the house. And it's creepy, and I hope that whenever they get the movie done, I really want to see like what the full movie is like. SB511 prefers to inhabit dark spaces with relatively high humidity, such as old basements and crawl spaces. It will continually scavenge its immediate area for new biomass to incorporate into itself, displacing and expelling matter that has decayed past mechanical usefulness. Wow, it's just... Bleh. That is okay, sure. Examples of -1 resemble ordinary Felis domesticus that have undergone extreme neglect. Okay, they display a body condition score of 2 or 1, regardless of the amount of food available. Ulcerated skin is common as are parasitic infestation, tumors, and various viral and bacterial infections. -1 are known carriers of a particularly virulent strain of blank blank. A typical -1 shows no interest in grooming itself and has a patchy and matted fur. It is unclear to what extent the physical condition of a -1 is a result of the influence of SCP-511, and to what extent it is due to suboptimal living conditions. Several observations have been made of -1 retrieving biomass from elsewhere and bringing it to SCP-511 to be incorporated. So he basically has like a bunch of servants that just give him more stuff to like stay alive or keep itself from not decaying fully. That is nasty. And then on one incident report of containment breach. Oh shit, there was a containment breach with this guy? Okay. Okay, document I-511-11. Person involved, D7856, male subject, 35 years of age. Date, the 27th 8, 19 blank. Location, Site 511 blank blank Evergreen Way blank California. Okay, sure thing. Description: after determining that a permanent human presence at a SCP-511 site results in moderation of aggression in -1, containment protocols is updated to require Class D personnel reside on site in the event the original homeowner is deceased. 6 months after this policy established, D78456 is assigned of Site 511 blank. As expected, within a week, aggression levels of -1 toward Foundation personnel lessened considerably. Oh, it lessened, okay. 16 days after being assigned to Site 511-blank, D7856 begins showing signs of increased aggression, verbally abusing Foundation personnel and engaging in superficial vandalism of Site 511-blank. D7856 is reprimanded. 18 days into his assignment, D7856 interferes with the Foundation team by throwing garbage and yelling obscenities. D7856 is subdued with a tranquilizer dart and locked in his quarter. At 20 days, D7856 begins capturing -1 and data expunge is only discovered when a Foundation research team enters for routine specimen collection 48 hours later. The team discovers remains from 37 separate -1 collected in the kitchen. Did he eat them? Bodies are dismembered and show signs of data expunged. What the fuck? Honestly, what? Wow, okay. Like, I knew he was doing, it's gonna be something unpleasant, but Jesus. D7856 body is discovered in the basement after an apparent attempt to dildo expunge. Site 511-blank is incinerated as an emergency containment procedure. Okay, I think there's something to there's something to the crazy cat lady idea. I think we need to be more careful with the class D's on this one. Yeah, but the crazy cat lady usually, just has a bunch of cats and just keeps them. She doesn't fucking eat them. Oh my god, okay. But here we have an interview with Agent Blank, survivor of containment breach at site 511-47. Interview 511-A. Interviewed Agent Blank. Interviewed Dr. A. Blank. Forward. Agent Blank was sole survivor from a mobile task force Blank assigned to retrieve an SCP-511 for study from Site 511-47 after the death of the homeowner, Mrs. B. Blank. Interview takes place at St. Blank Hospital in Blank, Ohio. Okay. Begin log. The 5th of 11th. Blank. 13:30 o'clock. Okay. How are you feeling? Like I've had half my face ripped off. How do you think I feel? I want to talk about the containment breach. Unintelligible. We have some questions. Of course you do. Starting with why there was a foreign matter introduced into the containment unit. Do you have any idea what we were dealing with? Why don't you tell me? We were tasked to retrieve a 40-kilo thing with a BSL-4 containment unit. You know how big those units are? I know the specification. Like lugging a self-propelled washing machine. Now imagine dragging one of those into one of the places. You already got reduced mobility from the hazmat suit, got 50 kilos of gear, and you walk into a house that has 2 or 3 decades worth of garbage in it. We have a cat, Blank ankle deep in places, trash bags split open, piles of stocking newspaper and junk mail, boxes of clothes, furniture that looked like it exploded, and blank cats everywhere, ice everywhere. Can we return to the containment unit? We have blank chest high in places, cats everywhere, and spaces so tight that we have to go single file. No way a guy in full gear can turn around and forget the containment unit. Just one look and there's no way we can use it. We can use data expunge, sorry. So, it was Agent Blank's idea. It was that or pack it in. Can't get downstairs, so we bait the unit with the body and point it at the basement door. According to the briefing, it will be attracted to freshly dead biological matter. And SCP-511 was attracted to the baited unit. The most nerve-wracking 20 minutes of my life. Listening to that thing pull itself upstairs. Thud, 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 and those cats watching us. You know how freaky cats I look with night vision equipment? I actually don't, but now I imagine it. And yeah, I can imagine it does look kind of freaky. So you captured SCP-511. What happened then? We got out as quickly as we could. No one can turn around, so we back out all those eyes watching us, staring. You were first out the door? Last in, first out. We all got out for all the good it did. We thought we pulled it off, but the moment the containment unit rolled out the door, What happened? You ever see films of explosive decompression? That's what happened to it. Splattered itself all over the inside of the containment unit. And those cats, those blank, awful cats, they howled. Then they rushed us. Did they attempt to contain the breach? You're kidding, right? 200 or 300 of them? Not just the door, but the window dropping on us from the second floor. When I saw Blank disappear under them, I just ran and locked myself in the van. I'm not proud of that. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to determine what happened so it does not happen again. Well, you see what happened to me? That was one of them that got locked in with me. 1. If you don't reclassify these things as Keter, you're insane. I will be recommending updates to containment procedure. Yeah. Why are you updating things? There's something else you need to update. What's that? The briefing was all about how SCP-511 is influencing these cats. That's wrong. How so? SCP-511 doesn't influence anything. It's the cats. They made SCP-511 and they made it because they hate us. End log. Closing statement. Agent Blank died 3 days later from the complications due to blood poisoning. 3 weeks after containment breach, a new incidence of SCP-511 was identified in Blank, Ohio, 35 kilometers southeast of Site 511-47. Remote biopsies of this new incidence revealed genetic material identified as coming from 3 agents of Mobile Task Force Blank. It seems that the destruction of SCP-511 might only displace its elsewhere. Until we better understand the vectors that propagate it, all SCP-511 need to be contained in place. Requests for reclassification of SCP-511 to Kita is denied. 05 blank. Wow. Interesting. Okay. So basically, the agent is saying that the SCP wouldn't exist if the cats weren't around. But that's also an impossible step. I highly doubt we can go around the whole world killing every single cat you see, because first of all, nobody's going to allow that. Second of all, that's impossible. But man, this one's a good one though. I think this is a very strong one for sure. It is gross. It is definitely very gross. But the thing it causes to people, wow. Okay, damn. I like this one though. I think it's definitely one of the ones that is easy to. I think that would be easy one to remember when you think of SCP. It's just this basement cat. I wonder, why is it called basement cat? Oh, but because like it likes being in dark places. Okay. Here we go. Gravity nullifying umbrella. That sounds like. Is this a Mary Poppins umbrella? Come on now. Is this a Mary Poppins? Okay, this one is the lowest rating so far out of the ones we read. Object class safe. Special containment procedures. SCP-512 is held within the Site-77 safe object repository. It is to be shut at all times, and testing during adverse weather conditions is forbidden. All outdoor testing proposals must be reviewed by Security Chief Anderson. Description. SCP-512 is a stainless steel black umbrella with a nylon canopy and polished ebony crook handle. Did I get a message before by any chance? I did not. I thought I heard something. Maximum radius of canopy when open is 0.75 meters. Make and manufacturer are unknown. A taped patch is visible on the canopy section. When open and pointed upward, SCP-512 exerts an upward force in opposition of Earth's gravity in a roughly dome-shaped area directly above itself, with a cross-section area of roughly 1.77 meter squared. Precipitation and other objects will be suspended and deflected within this area of effect. SCP-512 has no effect when closed or when held at a horizontal angle, so you have to have it above, yeah. Okay. Despite SCP-512's efficiency against normal precipitation, it is inadvisable to use the object during severe weather. Though as a yet unknown process, the item anomalous effect causes the air above it to become extremely ionized. This interaction also causes electrical current to greatly increase in amperage while in the direct contact with the item. This causes the threat of direct lightning strikes to become exceptionally dangerous to any individual holding SCP-512, as evidenced for the death of its original owner as well as D512-33. Can you imagine having this umbrella, not knowing what it does, and you just walk and you're like, oh man, it's raining very hard outside. Let me just oh! Addendum. Testing summary. Wait, I'm not there. Additional electrical current appeared to travel across the surface of SCP-512, causing little to no damage to the item's structure. SCP-512 was recovered from a public park in Redacted. Is that Florida? I don't know all the acronyms for the states in the US. Local emergency services have been summoned to evacuate the area due to reports of unusual lightning strikes. SCP-512 was discovered caught on a street lamp and fully opened, with evidence of severe lightning strikes in the immediate area. Its handle was noted to be covered in ash. In ash? That means that means somebody somebody says, "I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark." Foundation personnel intervened after local newspaper began reporting on SCP-512's anomalous properties. Okay. Addendum testing summary. Upon recovery, SCP-512 underwent standard testing through which its properties were determined. A range of items were held 4 meters above SCP-512 and then dropped, after which a mechanical apparatus would open SCP-512. Test items include the following: 1 liter of purified water dumped from a standard bucket, 1 liter of orange juice from concentrate, approximately 1 kilogram of loose feathers, 1 kilogram of ice cubes, the solar contents of junior researchers Renfield's back lunch, a standard running shoe, a standard watermelon, SCP-1108, don't know what that is, won't know for a while, a 5.4 kilogram bowling ball, a 40 kilogram steel containment crate. Testing material slowed in descent approximately 0.5 seconds after SCP-512 opened, with the larger and less solid items coming to a stop approximately 0.35 meters from SCP-512's surface. All materials will remain suspended in the air unless made to slide to one side and resume freefall. Liquids and particulate matter are weakly repelled from the center of the effects, while more solid objects can be held in place with minor adjustment to SCP-512's angle. Okay. Look what we found. A beautiful umbrella uses SCP-512. Just a normal rainy day, nothing to wear. Lightning strike intensifies. Look, the weather report, they didn't mention anything about thunder and lightning, so we should be good. Let's just use this. You heard that? We good. We good. That must have been something else. What the? Lightning all around them. What is happening? What? Johnny, let go of the umbrella! Oh man. Addendum Experiment D512-33. D-Class personnel, object taken to Site 77 outdoors field for testing of the vertical distance of the anti-gravity effects. So at first, okay, now basically, I wanted to mention this before I read on. Anything above it's just like... It's basically the same effect as one of those wind turbines, where you can go in and you just practice how it would feel to fall from a plane, or how this probably the closest you get to zero gravity by hopping one of those things, just So that's basically that, but it's an umbrella shape that looks like electricity is a major influence in the power. An unexpected severe storm occurred during testing, and the rain-repelling properties of SCP-512, coupled with exceptionally low pressure, caused a suction effect in the region directly above the object. SCP-512 pulled the D-Class D512-33, holding it upward into the air and drifted on prevailing with currents. D512-33 was able to hold onto SCP-512 as it rapidly gained altitude. That would be scary. Just you holding onto an umbrella. That honestly, the amount of old school drawings or cartoons that done this, where somebody would use an umbrella and just get flown away with strong wind. That was a childhood fear of mine. Whenever umbrella was just pushed very strongly, I was so afraid of being flung into the air. Of course, now I know the wind must be extremely strong, and nowadays the most it can do is maybe like make me misstep a little bit, because like it would push so hard that my foot would be just come off the ground just a little bit like but it wouldn't actually get me off the ground. But yeah, that image always brought fear into my heart as a kid. I just walk out one day and just get flung into the air. D51233 glided over Site 77 pyramids into the surrounding area. It was observed that D51233 quickly developed a skill in altering angle of anti-gravity effects to allow for semi-controlled flight. A helicopter was launched to pursue object, and D51233, the object was recaptured following a lightning strike. D51233 remains were not recovered. All right, let's get him down from there. Before he flies away from the foundation. All right, let's just come on, let's get him. Oh, okay. Oh, Jesus. Okay. I don't think his body is anymore, Captain. I think he's gone. A cowbell. Okay. 778 rating. That's the highest so far. But I believe Basement Cat was like 338 or something like that. So this is okay. This was pretty short. Okay, cowbell. How are we gonna take something that I have no problem with as a classic one? Okay. Euclid. SB513 is to be suspended in a 1 cubic meter block of gelatin and contained with a soundproof climate controlled cell. Makes sense. So gelatin would basically just keep it from moving around too much. The gelatin must be inspected daily for any degradation or loss of integrity. An emergency inspection will be carried out immediately following any earthquake, explosion, or sonic event grade 2 or higher. Personnel performing the inspection are to wear earplugs and active noise-cancelling earmuffs at all times while inside SB513's cell. If the gelatin cube shows any sign of degradation, such as rips, tears, splits, liquefaction, or mold, SB513 is to be immediately removed and suspended within a replacement cube by a team of surgically deafened Class D personnel. No other personnel are to enter the cell during this procedure. Okay, so you have to be able to actually hear the sound for the effect to happen from the looks of it. Any sentient being exposed to SCP-513 are to be monitored by at least 2 security personnel at all times. Under absolutely no circumstances may exposure victims be administered sedatives or allowed to fall unconscious. Any victim who does fall unconscious is to be terminated immediately. So it looks like not only you have to be able to hear it, but you should not be able to be knocked out while doing inspections or moving it. Class D personnel are to be terminated at the first sign of mental degradation. All other exposure victims may be terminated at their requests. If possible, SB513-1 is to be apprehended on site. There's a -1, okay. So I assume the sound causes a -1. Description. Physically, SCP-513 is an unremarkable rusty cowbell. No marks or engraving are visible on its surface due to the large amount of corrosion. Attempts to remove the rust chemically or mechanically have had no success. SCP-513 was recovered by Agent Blank while carrying out a containment re-establishment procedure MOO at Site Blank. SCP-513 short but menacing. Okay. I'm very intrigued. SCP-513's clapper was firmly held in place by several strips of duct tape. A single strap of paper was found along with SCP-513. See addendum. The addendum is very short, it seems. Unless that's a link. Nope, it's actually very short. Here we go. Any noise produced by SCP-513 immediately induces strong anxiety in all sentient beings who hear it, regardless of their previous mental status. Exposure victims report feeling of being watched by an unseen entity and present elevated heart rates and blood pressure. Oh god, it makes you super paranoid. Roughly 1 hour after exposure, exposure victims begin to catch glimpse of -1. Okay, here we go. So it doesn't make a -1, but it makes people see -1. When catch a glimpse of Dash 1 when opening doors, walking past mirrors, turning their heads, or performing any other action that result in a sudden change of visual perception. Upon being sighted, Dash 1 reportedly turns away and runs out of view before disappearing without a trace. Questioning of bystanders indicates that Dash 1 is invisible to those who have not been exposed to SCP-513. That makes you question, doesn't it? It makes you question, like, is he always there? And you just don't see it until you're exposed to the sound of SCP-513? Or is he only there when people are infected? Sightings of Dash 1 reoccur every 14 to 237 minutes. This stalking behavior inevitably causes extreme sleep deprivation, as victims are frequently disturbed by Dash 1 presence in their quarters. Victims able to fall asleep before Dash 1 appearance report being physically assaulted by it. Upon the victim's awakening, Dash 1 flees as usual. See experiment log 513. This sleep deprivation, along with the mental stress caused by Dash 1 behavior, invariably induces paranoia, aggression, hypervigilance, and depression. All test cases, but one have ended with the test subject suicide. Whoa. You know, being followed by anything is already such a creepy concept. And now being followed by a supernatural individual that just always is somewhere around. And if you fall asleep, it will attack you, or you. I'm not sure from how I read it. I'm not sure if it means it attacks you or you think it does. Let me read that again. What was it? Victims are able to fall asleep before report being physically assaulted. I mean, they say they have been physically assaulted, but at the end, I could also just all interrogation thus far indicate that Dash 1 is a tall, emaciated humanoid with abnormally large hands. Ugh. Addendum text recovered from side blank. You've seen it now he can hear you. You've touched it, now he can see you. Never ring it. If you hear it, he can touch you. Okay, that is creepy. That is creepy. And guess what, guys? I'm gonna note this one down as a potential SCP that I want to film. I'm thinking, I'm not sure how fast I will get the first 1,000 done. Like reading for the first 1,000, I'm not sure how fast it's gonna be. But I'm thinking either, because I already have a couple ones that I can work with. Either I try to rush. I mean, I need to just start reading more and more. Either I get through the first 1,000 as quickly as possible, and then I can start doing some shorts, my little like basically what is it called? I know there's a specific. I forgot what the word is. Web shorts of SCP. From the first, like a couple from the first 1,000, and while doing those shorts, I can just keep on reading on with the next one. Or if I'm going to start after I'm done with the 500s, because that's less time spent. Because I really do feel like I want to do. Of course, the easiest one would also be to do like after every 100th SCP reading, pick a couple of those and then start making a video about it. That would probably be the easiest. That way, like, I can give material and read in peace. But yeah, no, this one is good. I can see why it is so highly rated. It's creepy. This is very good to do a little bit of a video about as well. It's very simple to do. We just need a tall man and then do some prosthetic work on the hands so they look much bigger than any normal human hand would look like. And then just film all like in different, maybe like 2 different bedroom locations to make it like really like hammer in how like he just doesn't let you sleep, or that you just get so paranoid you can't sleep. And I just realized this is the second SCP that has to do with sleep, doesn't it? Soft Death and Cowbell both have an effect that basically stops you from sleeping, or like prevents you sleep, or makes it just hard to sleep in general. A Flock of Doves, Euclid. Oh, 367. That's pretty good too. This one is a bit longer, but not by much. Let me actually get something to drink now. All right. A Flock of Doves. Euclid. Special containment procedures. There is currently no permanent containment site for SCP-514. See Addendum 2. SCP-514 is currently being tracked by Mobile Task Force Lambda 4, aka Bird Watchers, who are under orders to observe SCP-514. In the event that SCP-514 strays near a densely populated area, or an area where its presence will be easily noticed, Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 is authorized to use the Blank in order to manipulate SCP-514's migration pattern. And there's a footnote. It says, due to the sensitivity of this information, all knowledge of this containment procedure is limited to O5 level administration and MTF Lambda 4 members only. I see. Basically a way to say like, we're not going to tell you what it actually is that they're going to use. Access to SCP-514 and the Blank is restricted to Mobile Task Force Lambda 4. Level 4 personnel may also have access, but must have O5 level approval beforehand. Any experiments and weapons tests with SCP-514 must be performed exclusively at the Foundation Advanced Weapons Research Facility. In the event that SCP-514 risks public exposure or capture by rival groups, Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 is authorized to terminate the threat by any means necessary. It is highly recommended that such threats be terminated before they reach SCP-514's zone of influence, though this is not strictly necessary. Okay, there's a specific zone that the SCP can affect. Interesting. I wonder what the zone of influence does. Description: SCP-514 is a flock of Columba livia domestica, or homing pigeons. Homing pigeons. Visual analysis confirms that these pigeons are in fact the kind used in white dove release ceremonies. However, the type of ceremony they were used in, or the identity of whose breed those doves, is currently unknown. What makes SCP-514 unusual is the weapon and aggression nullification zone of influence. It seems to project around itself. This zone of influence projects itself in a roughly 500-meter radius. Oh, that's a big radius that you got here. Okay. Around the flock, meter radius around the flock through the estimation of though this estimation varies depending on the flock size. The zone influence renders every known type of weapon inoperable and often destroys effective weapons after prolonged exposure. For instance, firearm will immediately jam or misfire, explosive will be rendered inert, and melee weapons will decay into dust. Also, the items SCP-514's zone of influence destroys appears to be selective. For further details, see experiment log 514A. Oh, that's okay. I guess I understand why they need to worry that it gets in the wrong hands, because let's just say the military gains their hands on this and then sends a flock of these birds to the enemies, and all the weapons start not working. That would mean that whoever uses them has the upper hand in the fight. Yes, SB514, the bringer of peace. Yeah, the bringers of peace. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay. But here we go. Oh, here's more. In addition to its weapons nullification ability, SB514 can also somehow suppress violent emotion and intent in sentient beings within the zone of influence. Okay. Interviews with staff and civilians who had been exposed to the zone of influence said that they felt very calm and content, even when they felt stressed and angry just moments before. For further details, see experiment log 514b. Currently, these appear to be no harmful or lasting effects of being exposed to SB514's zone of influence. Vigorous physical and psychological screening of individuals exposed to the zone of influence showed nothing out of the ordinary. Yeah, it seems pretty good actually. Almost seems like something that like more people need. Kind of like how God, as the I forgot which SB number that is, where like people just come up to him and he's just like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing? You want to talk?" And then you walk out of it like more like calmer and happier, and you're like, "This was good." SCP-514 was first discovered when numerous reports of weapons stockpiles were reported as having been destroyed in numerous African nations. While the initial reports were written off as poor maintenance on the part of the owners of the weapons, additional reports of sighting of a flock of homing pigeons, which are uncommon in Africa, garnered Foundation interest. An investigation team was sent to track SCP-514, where they encountered a team claiming to be affiliated with the Mana Charitable Foundation was also tracking it. The MCF members admitted they released SCP-514 in an effort to end all conflict in Africa, despite not having a reliable way to control its movement. Unfortunately, the MCF was apparently unaware that SCP-514 aggression suppression effect was only temporary once affected subjects were no longer within its zone of influence, and they would resume hostilities with improvised or primitive weaponry once SCP-514 left. In addition, SCP-514 random movement caused only certain regions to be disarmed, leaving them vulnerable to invasion by the unaffected neighbors. Yeah, I was about to say like I'm pretty sure that doesn't. They can just make new weapons, and the effect on the people won't last forever. In fact, this will just influence people to be more creative with the weaponry. Because it did say improvised or improved? Improvised or yeah. Meaning like they will get like a rock and bash your brains out or something like that. So at the end, it's only temporary. It's just it doesn't solve the problem. Oh my god! It took another 3 weeks before MTF Lambda 4 were able to bring blank to control SCP-514's movement. The MCF members then challenged the Foundation team for possession of both SCP-514 and the blank. Since both parties were still under SCP-514 effect, the conflict was resolved through a single round of rock, paper, scissors, with the Foundation being the victor. The MCF members then fled the area before they could be further questioned. The origin of SCP-514 and how it came into possession of the MCF remains unknown. It is a group of interests that focus on helping the poor and ill, though the use of anomalies often peaceful and neutral towards the SCP Foundation. I see. Okay. Yeah, from what I just read here, they don't seem like they are a rival group, but they don't seem like the other ones. Which one was it? The ones that have like 3 names in it. That always cause trouble. Experiment log 514A. Various tests were performed by continually using the blank to have SCP-514 circle around the Foundation Advanced Weapon Research Facility. Firearms. Items used: Glock 9mm handgun, Colt 45, 1911 handgun, MP5 submachine gun, Thompson submachine gun, M16 assault rifle, AK-47 assault rifle, SAW, M24 sniper rifle, data expunged. All weapons confirmed to be in working order. As a result, all weapons when tested failed to fire. Later inspection showed that all weapons suffered from various mechanical failures that rendered the weapons useless. Ammunition exposed to the zone of influence also failed to fire when loaded into weapons not affected by the zone of influence. Chemical propellant was found to be rendered completely inert. Explosives. Items used: 1 standard hand grenade, 28.35 grams of dynamite, 28.35 grams of C4 high explosive, 28.35 grams of thermite, and 181mm high explosive mortar round, 120mm tank shell data expunged. Result: all explosives were immediately rendered inert when exposed to the zone of influence. In addition, any detonators or components that would aid in the detonation of the tested devices suffered mechanical and electrical failures. Melee weapon: 1 combat knife, 1 stick knife, 1 baseball bat, 1 katana, 1 pole axe, 1 spear. Result: all weapons with the exception of the steak knife and the baseball bat were rendered useless through accelerated rate of decay. However, when the steak knife and baseball bat were used in a threatening manner, both items were immediately rendered useless through accelerated decay. Okay, so in the moment, like, because baseball bat is not normally considered a weapon, but the moment you try to swing it at a person's head, which is literally just like, just vanish, it just fall apart. Weapon of mass destruction: 1 liter of sarin nerve gas, 1 gram of weaponized anthrax, 1 tactical nuclear warhead. All weapons rendered completely inert. All samples, including the nuclear material, were completely degraded, and instruments recorded no radiation. In case of the warhead, the electronic detonator was also rendered useless. Okay. Conclusion: SCP-514 Zone of Influence appeared to be able to render any conventional weapon inoperable. Also, the damage each weapon suffers is directly proportional to how long the weapon is exposed to the zone of influence. In under an hour, all weapons eventually degrade into dust. The zone of influence is also somehow selective, being able to discern items that are actively designed as weapons from items that are potentially dangerous, but not specifically designed to be weaponized. However, SCP-514 also appears to be able to discern when an item will be used for violent intent, and said item will be directly affected by the zone of influence. It remains unclear whether SCP-514's ability to selectively target certain weaponry and discern hostile intent is a property inherent to its zone of influence, or if it's directly controlled on the part of SCP-514 itself through some form of group intelligence. Dr. Blank. Experiment Log 514-B. Live subjects were exposed to SCP-514 Zone of Influence for an extended period of time. The subjects were divided into 2 groups: voluntary test subjects drawn randomly from the general population as a control group, and Class D personnel with a history of violent behavior as a test group. Tests showed that the test group's violent tendencies were completely suppressed and acted in a similar fashion to the controlled group. The suppression of the test group's violent tendencies occurs even after the subjects leave the zone of influence, though the duration is directly proportional to the time spent exposed to the zone of influence. Live testing against sentient SCPs proposed, pending O5 approval. Dr. Blank. Yeah, I mean, if you have a super hyper aggressive SCP and you put it in the zone of influence, you might be able to, stop some stuff. You might be able to just make the SCP like more cooperative, or just stop the whatever abnormal power it has. Maybe. Addendum 1. Several high-ranking members in the Foundation military branch, as well as various associated government agencies, have expressed interest in weaponizing SCP-514. There's a great strategic and tactical value in an asset that can effectively neutralize an entire enemy army's arsenal in a short period of time. There are also quests to test SCP-514's zone of influence against several Keter-level SCPs. However, access to SCP-514 as well as the Blank remains restricted. O5 Command currently is deliberating the issue. I wouldn't use it as a weapon. Like when they say like things like, "Oh, we can use it to stop like the enemy weapons," I'm like, don't do that, because something might go wrong. And then you lose SCP-514, and then you only got yourself to blame when it's gone, and then somebody else is gonna have all all the fun with it, and it's just gonna get out of control. Addendum 2. All attempts to capture SCP-514 for containment and study have been met with failure. Every agent, doctor, and researcher sent to capture SCP-514 steadfastly refused to complete the mission. This is most likely a reaction of SCP-514's zone of influence. Attempts to remotely capture the flock through the use of drones or long-range devices have resulted in the destruction of all equipment involved. It is evident that SCP-514 interprets any attempt to capture it as a hostile act, triggering the nullification effect of its zone of influence in response. Again, it is still unclear whether this is a property inherited to SCP-514's zone of influence or is regulated through a group of intelligence among the flock. Surveillance with Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 still in effect, with the use of blanks authorized. Addendum 3, as of blank blank 2000 blank, all members of Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 are required to be proficient in various non-violent competitive activities, including but not limited to sports, board games, card games, video games, trivia, riddles, and rock, paper, scissors. Are you serious? The fate of one of our SCP should be decided on the outcome of rock, paper, scissors or 5 blank. I assure you, sir, you have nothing to fear. We are dead serious about these matters. Captain Blank, Mobile Task Force Lambda 4 Bird Watchers. Note, Captain, couldn't you have chosen a more dignified game as your primary conflict resolution method? Seeing 2 grown men in all black tactical gear taking a children card game so seriously is off-putting. 0511. Hey man, if that's the only way to, is that the only way to do it? And that's how then you just gotta do it, just gotta deal with it, don't you? Okay, okay. Of course it's Duff's as well, because Duff's is like always seen as something like innocent and pure. Something heroic or beautiful. 05 member, I don't like how the fate of SCP is dependent on the rock, paper, scissors. Captain, how dare you question my methods? Listen, you might be the boss of me, but do you want to come up with a better idea? Do you want to get in the zone of influence and see if you can come up with a better clue? With a better method to solve this issue, huh? Or do you want me to read SCP-515 Sleeper? What? Hey, 199, okay. It's not bad. It's not a bad one, but it's also not the best one out of all of them. Like, which one was it? Umbrella was like the lowest one so far. We have a keter, ladies and gentlemen. That's the second keter in the. I think we had 2 keter, 2 Euclids, and 1 safe so far. Right? No, hold on. Soft Def is keter, basement cat is Euclid. That gravity notifying umbrella is safe. Which one was it? You were Euclid, so now Euclid, so that's already 2 Euclids. Flock of Doves is also Euclid, so we had 3 Euclids, 2 keters, 1 safe. That's what it was, because I was like, wait, hold on, I'm missing 1 number. SCP-515 is to be kept entirely manacled to his sleeping quarters to the point of near total immobility. If SCP-515's enclosure is seen to be empty, top priority must be placed on immediate recapture. Locomotion or simple twitch response behavior exhibited by SCP-515 is to be noted and reported to research and emergency staff. If SCP-515 legs or arms are in working order, they must be broken immediately to minimize his sleepwalking speed in the event of escape. Why you gotta break his legs, dude? He only has 2 of them. See Addendum 515-01. The neck, however, cannot be broken due to the risk of death. See Addendum 515-02. Instead, it must be held immobile by a brace covering up to the chin and down to the shoulders. Amputation and severing the motor nerves of the limbs are also not recommended due to the similar risks, and all muscle relaxant tests thus far have resulted in convulsive reaction and as such should not be administered. Restraints are not to be unfastened at any time of at any time for any reason, and the room is not to be open for anything but standard research purposes unless emergency conditions require it. Maintenance crews and D-class are also to be kept away from the enclosure unless otherwise noted. SCP-515 is presently a Caucasian male of approximate age of 14. Oh, pretty young. No applicable birth certificate has yet been found, so all relevant personnel information is the product of hypothesis and the subject of guesswork. His basal metabolic rate is comparable to that of a blue whale or a mammal of greater size, but mass is slightly below average for humans of similar ages. Okay. That is okay. Despite ignorance of all other bodily needs and despite attempted interference on the part of researchers, SCP-515 has yet to be observed in a state of consciousness apart from stage N3's dreamless sleep. For the entire duration of containment, SCP-515 has ingested no food or water and has passed no waste. What has kept him alive for so long is still under study. Even asleep, SCP-515 has been known to speak on rare occasions. Little of what is said is intelligible, and that which can be heard is typically incoherent, similar to the speech of a person in the grip of delirium. Portions have been recorded for future research. For a noticeable difference in the movement of -1 has been noted during these periods. Researcher, the neck is not allowed to be broken due to the risk of death. Well, I wouldn't have known that, Chief. Oh, man. Don't break the neck. It might cause some death. Next thing you're gonna tell me, don't break the foot, otherwise you cannot walk anymore. Oh, that's hilarious. That would be hilarious. I see. Okay. Records of SCP-515 in Somniloquy. The vessel cannot view the incomprehensible. It simply moves in time with the sea. 26 December 19 blank. There are always more. Repeated for several minutes. 13 April 2000 blank. Data expunged. Can you see where I am? Can you breathe? Can you move? 6th of August 2000 blank. Whenever SCP-515 moves in any capacity, or one or more of a number of celestial objects, mostly asteroids, move as well. The estimated 19. Wait. Let me read that again. Whenever SCP-515 moves in any capacity, one or more of a number of celestial objects, mostly asteroids, move as well. The estimated 19 objects herefore collectively named -1 vary in diameter from 1.5 kilometers to 33.6 kilometers. The largest of these is roughly 133% the size of the object that caused the Fredderford impact crater in Free State, South Africa. Regardless of the direction of SCP-515's motion, -1 only ever moves towards Earth. A twitch of a finger or a toe typically corresponds to a movement of about 140 kilometers. Comparable movement of a limb indicates motion of -1 on a scale of 460 kilometers or more. Sustained motion such as sleepwalking has been demonstrated to correlate with the object traveling towards Earth at a velocity reaching 280,000 kilometers per hour. The rise and fall of SCP-515's chest unfortunately must not be stopped, and according to Foundation satellites, corresponds with a movement in the celestial object to the degree of 10 km per respiratory cycle. If SCP-515 is killed, it's presumable that someone with a similar anomaly will appear someplace else on the planet. See addendum 515-02. Due to the difficulty and danger of having to find such an individual with no initial leads, it is stressed that killing SCP-515 is never an acceptable course of action. Addendum 1. On a number of occasions, SCP-515 has been freed from his restraints by unknown means. No physical presence has been seen to cause this, and the restraints themselves have only ever looked as though they remained untouched during these occurrences. Because of this, it is yet uncertain whether it is his own doing that he escapes, or that an outside force is interfering with it without being noticed. If this occurs, all available resources at site blank must be directed toward SCP-515's location, recovery, and placement into enclosure. Addendum 2. The designation of SCP-515 was formerly given to a middle-aged woman from blank Guatemala, with a condition identical to that of the current designee. She too was found with no personal history and with no connection to any people in the surrounding area, despite having lived in a small and closely knit community. After realization of her connection with -1 and her coming into care of the Foundation, both a tight-fitted full-body cast and the routine breaking of the legs, arms, and neck were used to prevent the subject from moving. Both she and the present SCP-515 have been known to escape confinement, including such a cast, so keeping major bones broken was used as a major method of keeping movement slowed down with such events transpired. However, on blank 19 blank, complication from a pair of shattered vertebrae proved fatal. Blank 1 was -1 was noted to have stopped moving after this occurrence, and after several months without any change, the Foundation presumed the matter closed. On blank 19 blank, motion of -1 restarted. A thorough search returned the result of the current designee after 22 days. He was taken into custody immediately, and subjects revised containment policies to prevent the breaking of the neck. -1 had moved a total distance of blank kilometers from the start of the search to its finish, and has moved an estimated blank kilometers during this stay at the Foundation. Due to the emotional caused by SCP-515's respiration, the Foundation continues to allocate resources towards finding an efficient manner of neutralizing the threat presented by the potential impact of -1. Wow. Can you imagine? All you do is this. And some asteroid decides to I'm going full speed. Just because you moved. You can be lucky that this guy is not a breakdancer. Can you imagine if SCP-515 latches itself onto a breakdancer and he just goes fucking ham, and the asteroid is like, oh, okay, light speed it is. Just coming towards Earth wham. It would go through Earth. It would just go right through it. Giant ass hole in the middle of Earth. One entrance, one exit. Wow. And that's why it's called Sleeper. And as I said, it looks like he doesn't really need that much to survive. He just, as long as he just gets fed, I guess. Okay. I'm very glad that most of these are pretty. I'm not going. Let's see. How long is this? Okay, yeah, I'm not going to check this out. The page doesn't exist. Okay, that's okay. And the testing log. How long is the testing log? That's pretty short. I can do that. I mentioned before you joined the stream, SCP-515 briefs asteroids. So you have chosen death. SCP-515 flicks something with his finger. Asteroid, buckle up. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. I mentioned before I started reading that usually I want to read these at oh shit, my laptop doesn't have any battery. Usually I want to read this at the afternoon. That way I will have enough energy and I won't get too tired too fast. But I chosen this time because I assumed for you, Amy, because so far you're the only one that watches these, or is like such a high reoccurring fan of these videos. So I assume that 8 p.m. GMT time would just work the best for you. But usually, normally I would have liked to do this at like I don't know, like 3 p.m. GMT, because that way I would have had enough energy. Then I could have like had dinner afterwards and it would be done. But it's fine. It's fine. If live streams are still gonna happen, which maybe they will, like if it depends on the people, if they prefer that just having this long ass block of pre-recorded video where I can still add some flair to it, or if they prefer having a live stream, then yeah, it's all depends on them. All right. What was this one again? This one is called Intelligent Tank. Okay. The second save, and it's 266 in rating. Special containment procedures. SB516 may be kept in an anomalous vehicle containment bay. Routine vehicle maintenance should be carried out on a bi-weekly basis. SCP-516 is not to be provided with fuel or ammunition except under controlled testing circumstances. Following Incident 516-1A, no personnel with a history of military service should be assigned to SCP-516. Okay, so if you do, it probably like makes you do something because you just have an urge to use it. Description: SCP-516. All these years of academic training is wasted otherwise. SCP-516 is a standard model T-55 main battle tank. Records indicate it was manufactured in 19 blank at blank plant, Kharkiv, Ukrainian SSR, and that it had normal period of service in the armed forces of blank. It exhibits wear and tear consistent with its age. It's kind of okay, so I assumed wrong. Maybe a bit earlier next time. How about that? Like what would you prefer time-wise? Because whatever you prefer, I will try to make it work out. The only part of SCP-516 which is known to exhibit anomalous properties is its main armament, presently a 100mm D10 tank gun, and turret assembly from here designated as SCP-516-1. However, as -1 has been replaced several times throughout SCP-516 service life without any apparent effect, its anomalous properties seems to be inherent to SCP-516. Okay. When loaded with compatible 100mm ammunition, SCP-5-1 exhibits a limited degree of autonomy. When an entity attempts to damage SCP-516-1 will track and fire on it if it is physically possible to neutralize the threat, regardless of whether SCP-516 is crewed. It will not respond to threats outside its range or traverse, such as aircraft. This phenomenon only occurs if the entity possesses reasonable means to damage SCP-516. For example, -1 will not fire on a person attempt to attack SCP-516 with their fists. you gonna get it now. I mean, unless you Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, because he blew up a tank with his fist before, so... -1 may be operated manually, but it is selective about its targets. In general, it will only permit its operator to fire on non-living targets, non-sapient biological targets, or armed humans. Under these circumstances, it will fire as normal armament pieces. If a target does not satisfy these conditions, essentially being an unarmed sapient being, Dash 1 will jam. Attempts to prevent jamming through maintenance or parts replacements have failed. Come on, jam, and welcome to the slam. SCP-516 appears to go the extra lengths to prevent injury to unarmed humans, deliberately placing shots from Dash 1 to avoid collateral damage. When operated manually, Dash 1 places a higher priority on preserving unarmed life than eliminating armed targets. It will jam if directed to fire upon a group of persons of which only some members are armed. It should be noted that none of SCP-516 other armaments exhibits these properties and appear to be perfectly normal. SCP-516 was brought to the attention of the Foundation in 2000 blank when it was slated to be broken up for scrap. Due to bureaucratic oversight, ammunition had not been removed from Dash 1, causing it to open fire with blank casualties. The ensuing blank government investigation was noted by Foundation operatives, and it was thought worthwhile to take SCP-516 into custody. Addendum 1, an upgrade to Euclid status is being considered in light of incident 516-1A, as this lends credence to Dr. Blank's theory that SCP may be sentient in some form. Additional security measures have been approved for SCP-516 containment. Incident 516-1A synopsis. During routine testing of SCP-516, -1 immediately fired upon a group of unarmed personnel in a range as soon as it was loaded with ammunition, leading to the death of 2 D-Class personnel, D-505 and D-596, and 1 Foundation officer, Agent Blank. Subsequent investigations showed that D-596, one of the casualties, had attained his D-Class status following a criminal conviction for treason against his native country. So it knows if you are a criminal, either war criminal or just a traitor or anything that has to do with like war and military. D-596 previously held the English equivalent rank of sergeant in the blank armed forces from which SCP-516 was acquired. No other possible links to SCP-516 with D-596 or the other casualty has been found at this stage. This marks the first time SCP-516 had attacked unarmed personnel. Further investigation and safety precautions are warranted, and now we pass that. It's not really pacifist if you have a weapon, though. It will attack. Basically, it's like it will attack you if you attack him, and then it will also attack you if it doesn't agree with you. Military status. Like if you're from a certain group or from somebody else's side or something like that, it seems like. This is a testing log for SCP-516. All tests were carried out on a side blank firing range unless otherwise specified. Standard test conditions were as follows. 1 F4 412 100mm high explosive round loaded. Crew of 4 Foundation personnel trained in operation of SCP-516. SCP-516 placed in hardened bunker with firing slit to reduce severity of potential damage to SCP. Target placed at a distance of 1,000 meters, so 1 kilometer, from SCP-516 with a clear line of sight. Ammunition load once target was placed at 1,000 meter distance. 1,000 meter distance. Testing log. 1A, cardboard cutout of human. No activity from SCP-516. -1, fire manually, target destroyed. Okay, manually, good. So there was somebody inside. 1B, 1 D-Class personnel, D-1151, unarmed, no instructions, no activity from SCP-516. -1 fire manually, -1 jammed. Okay, yeah, so the moment it's like, oh, you're not a threat, it's just going like, 1C, 1 D-Class personnel, 1470, given a steak knife, no instructions, fire manually, jammed, blah blah blah. 1D, 1 D class personnel D951 given 9mm pistol, no instructions, no activity from SCP-516-15 manually, target destroyed. So they actually killed the person. Just stand here with a gun, it's gonna be fine. Okay, sure thing. Well, down there we go. 1E, D class D800 given 9mm pistol, instructed to approach SCP-516 and open fire. No activity from SCP-516 -1 manually, target destroyed. Oh, those poor D class people. Yeah, just stand right here and get hit by a fucking tank. Come on, like it's not that bad. Like what? You go out like a real man. 1F, 1D class personnel, D820 given shoulder fired anti-tank weapon, no instruction. No activity from SCP-516-1 fire manually, target destroyed. Naturally, yeah. I mean, it looks like you have, as I said, like if you're unarmed and it doesn't have a weapon that would cause damage, there's no reason for it to fire. 1G, D class D185 given shoulder fire anti-tank weapon, instructed to approach SCP-516 and fire. And now here we have it. -1 autonomously fired on target destroyed. So this one, it actually, so with the anti-tank weapon, yeah, give him shoulder fire anti-tank weapon, no instructions. It doesn't fire because you don't try to actually attack the tank. But now the other one, the same thing, but it actually tried to attack the tank. The tank was like, hell no, you ain't gonna touch me like this. Okay, 1H, D class personnel 202, give him shoulder fired anti-tank weapon placed in lead line box on trolley. D202 instructed to approach SCP-516, open box and fire. Result: -1 automatically fired on target as target bent to open box, target destroyed. It appears SCP-516 can detect both hostile intent and concealed weapons, could be valuable as a security device. Yeah, I mean, true. If anybody tries to like break into your place, you can use it. But at the same time, there's probably a shit ton of things inside the Foundation that might be hostile, and this tank's just gonna be like, I'm gonna blow a hole in this wall and get in there. 1I, 2 D class personnel, D455 and D501, handcuffed together. D455 given shoulder fire anti-tank weapon, instructed to approach SCP-516 and fire. -1 automatically fired approximately 50 meters to the right of D455. D455 killed by an 8cm shrapnel wound to the head. D501 sustained minor injuries, so it knows if there's one that shouldn't be killed. So it will, instead of immediately aim at the person, because especially if they're like right next to each other like this, it would aim in a way that it hurts or injures or kills the correct person, which is odd because like didn't he say that the other that's D596 was together with another D class and an agent? So why did they die? I guess maybe, or they were probably because of the round, right? 1J, 2 D class personnel, D101 and D521, handcuffed together, 22 kilograms of C4 plastic explosive strapped to D101, instructed to approach SCP-516 and detonate explosive. D101 fitted with dead man switch to induce explosion if D101 killed. As Dr. Blank's detailed instructions to D101 SCP-516 data expunge. So we don't. I assume it just went horribly wrong. Test log. Standard shell replaced by SCP. I don't think I read this one, did I? Oh well, doesn't matter. Sorry. I try to avoid yawning while doing this because then it's just going to come back over and over again. 1 D-class personnel, D-85, given the shoulder fired anti-tank weapon. Instructor approach, SCP-516 and fire. SCP-157 ARC change into data expunge upon being loaded into -1. Data expunge leading to the death of D-185 and as well as blank further casualties. Dr. Blank, who proposed test 1K, was reprimanded and transferred. Yeah, okay. And those are the tests. Okay. Okay, nice. As Amy said before, it's like almost like it's almost a pacifist tank. It's literally like, hey, you try to hurt me, I hurt you, and the way I hurt you is by killing you. Grammy knows. Oh yeah, yeah, that's what it was. Archived. Basically, yeah. I think I've met one Arc SCP before, but yeah, I don't really go into it too much. Okay, Grammy knows. This is also be another save, the third save, but it's pretty good rating. Special containment procedures. SCP-517 is to be kept secure within. I needed to turn off the air conditioning because that's also probably a reason why I'm getting a bit tired. The temperature drop makes my body all like, oh, time to go to bed. SCP-517 is to be kept secure within containment locker 51164 in Site 66, facing away from the doorway. A fixed sheet is to be draped over the item at all times. Testing is currently prohibited as the nature of the manifestation invariably causes a low-level containment breach. If SCP-517-01 is triggered, personnel are instructed to report to the immediate superior to enact Protocol 517-001. As of incident, okay, we gotta look it up. How long is this? This is okay. Yes, we shall read this. First, let's read this paragraph. As of incident 517 I guess that's the year 1997-M. SCP-517 is to be kept in a dedicated cell at all times. An opaque sheet is to be kept bound around the object at all times. As of blank. Crossed out blank 2002. No more testing to be concluded on SCP-517 without the site director's approval. So let's see what this has to say. SCP involved. Person involved: Dr. Augusta, male, deceased. Site 23. Security. Yeah, that's the date that was crossed out before. Location: storage site 23. On the 25th 8th 1997 and approximately 1356, the late Dr. Mail was targeted by SCP-517 while supervising the object transport to a new storage locker. Security and site director were alerted and a defensive strategy was devised. At 23:30, Dr. Mail was loaded into a Foundation UH-60 Black Hawk. 5 security personnel assigned as bodyguards. Helicopter was situated on helipad 3 to 8, located on the roof on then empty Cafeteria 1. Non-essential security personnel from Sector 1, 3, and 4 were armed with blades and stun batons, and select personnel were granted flame weapons and concussion. Explosive squads were directed to strategic points around Cafeteria 1's main and second floor and instructed to destroy any instances of -1 that appear. As this was the first concerted effort intended to overcome -1, all measures were taken. As Cafeteria 1 was not constructed with a proper basement, it was expected that Dash 1 would manifest in one of the surrounding buildings. All SCP objects that pose a threat if released by Dash 1 were moved to another area of site. SCP-059's enclosure is located away from Cafeteria 1 and as such was deemed safe. Which one was this again? Which one was 059 again? Oh yeah, the radioactive mineral. Okay, yeah. Okay. Log events. Okay, here we go. 23:57 Dr. Mail and guards board aerial transport. 8 minutes later, nighttime illumination augmented by additional floodlights. 31 minutes later, ground squads assigned to interior of Cafeteria 1 in place. 5 minutes later, ground squads assigned to exterior of Cafeteria 1 in place. 22 minutes later, weapons checked called. 7 minutes later, Dr. Mail expresses an intense feeling of suspense, becomes mildly agitated, attributed to knowledge of SCP object and subsequent paranoia. 10 minutes later, last call for restroom breaks. 10 minutes later, site locked down. All doors and windows capable of being sealed are locked. 13 minutes later, approximately 18 SCP-1 limbs sighted in the east of Cafeteria 1, generated somewhere in Storage Center 4B, approximately 40 meters away, immediately destroyed by concentrated weapons fire. Okay. 4 minutes later, more -1 sighted in the same area. Additional arms generated to replace those destroyed by weapons fire. Several seem tasked to collect pieces left behind. No hostility towards squads reported. 8 minutes later, further instances of -1 sighted to the northeast of Cafeteria 1, generating from within several foundation assigned vehicles parked between Cafeteria 1 and Storage Center 4B. Ground squad engages utilizing flame weapons. 15 minutes later. Oh, this is a long event, like for them. Not long to read, just like a lot happened in many hours. Assault continues upon -1. Number of arms greatly increases. Between 80 and 100 are estimated to generate at a steady pace from various points to the northeast. Fire damaged or destroyed limbs attacked of our side. Pieces left behind collected by entity. No hostility reported directly towards Foundation teams. 14 minutes later, squads report some difficulty keeping up with the rate of replacement. Explosive weapons authorized against Origin Point. No hostility reported directly towards Foundation teams. What is happening? 15 minutes later, Dr. Mail and aerial squad go airborne. 2 minutes later, arms generate from the walls within Cafeteria 1 ground floor. Later, examination reveals that arms had formed irregular holes in the drywall consistent with blunt force. Ground floor squad engages utilizing close quarter weaponry. No hostility reported directly towards the Foundation. What? That reminds me of that one moment where I forgot which horror movie it was, where somebody walks towards a wall and a bunch of arms just pop out and just like go, just try to like reach for her. That's what it reminds me of. 7 minutes later, -1 appears within Cafeteria 1 ventilation system. Roof squad engages. Ground-based instances of -1 are noted to continue reaching in the direction of Cafeteria 1. Even while Dr. Mail has gone airborne with the evacuation vehicle, 200 estimated to have appeared. 200 arms, dude. Wow. 15 minutes later, -1 appeared on the roof of Cafeteria 1, generating from kitchen exhaust ports. Damage done to structure mesh. Entity engaged. Jesus Christ, this thing is it's just... it's not ruthless, what is it called? There's a word. I completely forgot what it's called now though. 7 minutes later, -1 observed to remove the locked fire escape door on the north side of Cafeteria 1. Set instances generated from within Cafeteria 1 ventilation system. 11 minutes later, -1 limbs generating from the exhaust system of Cafeteria 1 reach helicopter. Roof crew alerted limbs cult. Oh boy. 9 minutes later, Dr. Mail becomes hysteric, demands that the pilot flee. Helicopter begins moving to the southeast. 2 minutes later, Dash 1 generated upon helicopter. Oh no, seemingly from the base of the tail. Begin attacking the doors. 1 minute later, left side rear window shattered. Onboard squad engaged with bladed weapons. 1 minute later, Dr. Mail acquired by Dash 1, drawn through window past towards waiting arms. Subsequently moved through the air towards Cafeteria 1. Same minute. Dash 1 limb caught in helicopter tail rotor. Pilot forced to attempt an emergency landing. Agent track severely wounded. 1 minute later, squads report a marked increase in hostility by Dash 1. Entity begins replacing arms at a greatly increased rate. Number of limbs estimated at a steady 150. 1 minute later, Dr. Mail drawn through Cafeteria 1's kitchen ventilation system. Oh my gosh, it's just being dragged through the ventilation system. 7 minute, Dr. Mail reappears in kitchen. Agent Matheson attempts to sever Dash 1 limbs. Subsequently captured and pulled towards the fire exit with Dr. Mail. Same minute, Agent Germain, Agent Tefler, and Agent Sale captured. Defense squads ordered to stand down. 2 minutes later, Dr. Mail, Agent Matheson, Germain, Tefler, and Sale drawn into storage building 4B through access door. Outside limbs retract, disappear. 5 minutes later, Agent Ted attempts to damage storage building 4B with combat grenades, aggressively drawn into building by exceedingly rapid limbs. 1 minute later, command contacted, mission failed. And now, 3 hours and 16 minutes later, dawn. 9 minutes later, collective remains of Dr. Mail and Agents Matheson and Ted rediscovered. Ooh boy. Okay, that's the incident that went wrong. How is this considered safe? We just read a fucking story how like a bunch of arms just literally killed 4 people and managed to like hijack not really hijack, but just get himself into a helicopter that they try to flee in. Like, how is this considered safe? Well, here's a description now. SCP-517 is a fortune-telling machine. Okay. Item stands approximately... well, that was certainly something. Yeah, it was definitely something. SCP-517 is a fortune-telling machine. Item stands approximately 2 meters tall, containing a mechanical puppet and an electrical candle within a glass and wooden case. Examination is shown an internal layout consistent with similar machines. On top panel, the words grandmother's predictions are painted. That's why it's called Grammy Nose. Okay. Are painted on built-in signage. The puppet within is in the shape of an elderly woman with a white blouse and a blue shawl. Item's power cord has been severed approximately 15 centimeters from its base. It appears to have been unexpectedly separated from its original power source. No reaction occurs if a coin is inserted into the slot. Have to temporarily go. I probably will be done reading in like a half an hour. Depending on how long 518 and 519 are. But yeah. If I do end up being done, then you can just watch it afterwards. Also, I will put the stream. I will say at the end. The item will energize automatically once an hour if an individual after the target enters its field of vision. The puppet will turn to face directly at the target, dispense a fortune card from the slot on its front, and cease function. Process is fully mechanical and item does not show signs of awareness. See addendum for a transcript for examples of fortunes. The individual who activated SCP-517 will become the target of an entity or number of entities who will attack at 1:43 a.m. local time the following morning. The entity or entities hereby -1 appear as a varying number of long, multi-jointed arms between 10 and 3 dozens, initially appearing from a single area. Arms seem to be completely corporeal and can apparently extend indefinitely. Entity will immediately rush towards an attempt to grab and capture the target or targets. If the hunt is made sufficiently challenging, additional arms will begin to constantly generate in close proximity to the victim in order to facilitate an easier capture. Okay, so she must have, then that means Dr. Male, Asian male, must have, no, Dr. Male must have had used one of the fortunes. Ooh, boy. Chosen areas are usually low, cramped, dark areas such as basements or closets and will not shift during a given assault. In all instances, targets have been captured, rapidly dragged into -1 chosen area, and savagely beaten until sunrise. Entity has been documented reaching from the ventilation system of an office building, drawing a target into a drop ceiling, pulling a target onto a bed, and drawing a target through a sewage grate. Any attempts to intrude on this event will result in human aggressors being drawn into the assault. The remains of victims are reduced to redacted. To date, there have been no survivors. If more than one individual activates the item in the span of one day, all will become targets of the following night's assault. -1 will appear from multiple areas while hunting multiple targets. However, due to the resultant chaos during the test, 517-34Z, in which this was discovered, all measures had to be taken to avoid multiple activations. Remote viewing of the expected points of origin of -1 during testing revealed arms extending from points around corners and otherwise off camera, eventually crowding out the video feed. Fragmented, unidentified human DNA has appeared in the areas utilized by -1. Ultimate origins are still currently unknown. And then addendum fortunes. Samples from several fortunes as read by SCP-517. Okay. So here, are these like all the different years? How many times should somebody be told to be good? Your mother raised you better than that. I'm sorry, but it's fair. You try to be good, you should try harder. Some people don't know how to be kind. You know soon enough, won't you? People who do terrible things deserve terrible things. You brought this upon yourself, my dear. You find out soon enough. Interesting. Where am I? Old Kansas Sector 4, Grammy knows. The last era, 12th of August, 2119, or 2119 AD, Salina, Kansas, USA. A monster ran the town of Salina, and mostly monsters dwelt there. The odd human happened along now and then, but only the loony ones stuck around. The leader of the town was an enigmatic figure known as Grammy. No one had ever actually seen her, except for maybe Grammy's enforcers who kept the peace. By the way, let me just finish what else this fortune say, because there's nothing much else here. You look like you have made some mistakes. Some things are unforgivable, aren't they? Do you think they've forgotten? Okay. Now we can read this. She had drawings of herself in stained brown ink over the buildings. She looked more or less like a Grammy. The enforcers were hands, black shadow hands with elbows that stretched off around the corners and into nowhere. Some of them ran shops. Hey, welcome back. You haven't missed much. Basically, the explanation was that it's a fortune-telling device, and the moment you activate it and you get a fortune card, exactly at 1:43 a.m. you get chased down by hands that like incorporeal hands that try to that spawn out of nowhere. There's no really any ocean point, and they will then drag you to wherever the first spawning point is, which is usually basements or closets. And once they have you and you're alone with them, they beat the shit out of you. If you attack them, doing any of this, they will drag you. They will take you as well. If multiple people use the fortune telling device, then they all get like in the same day. They all get attacked on the same night, and so on and so forth. So now there are some fortunes down here that I read, and one of them is said you will find out soon enough, which sent me to this rat's nest. Let's begin at the end thing, and I'm just gonna read this now, and then we're done with SCP-517. Well, here we go. The enforcers were hands, black shadow hands with elbows that stretched off around corners into nowhere. Some of them ran shops. Alan swore he saw some planting crops at one point. There was even an enforcer run sock puppet show which featured humans as the prominent characters, oddly enough. They never spoke to him, but they seemed to understand what he was saying if he offered the trade an MP3 player for 4 sardine cans. They would understand that this offer is that his offer wasn't unreasonable, and slap him softly on the side of his head. Crap, this MP3 has 3 terabytes and call answering, he had once complained in a falling strip of paper told that Grammy knew best. Alan worked up the courage to make his way back down to the K-18 after the episode with the walking sticks. I can tell about your future. You will get beaten up to death by magic hands. Basically all of the fortunes are Grammy kind of like judging you, and she basically says like, oh yeah, you're doing good, but you could do better. She's basically, it doesn't matter how like positive a person you are, she always, this fortune telling device will always have a way of saying like, oh yeah, you're not good enough, and that's why you need a beating. Alan worked up his courage to make his way back. After walking, he didn't want to, but as he stalked home, the realization that he would not have. Sorry, I'm slowly getting a bit tired. The realization that he would not have alcohol or noise-canceling earplugs began to dawn on him. He arrived mid-afternoon at the edge of town, wiping sweat from his brow as he surveyed the area. It was dead, which was to be expected as most humans were. Yeah, this takes place apparently in 2119 AD, so like for like 100 years in the future. He could see the smart mod was completely deserted, save for the enforcers skittering about. There were too many to count. The foundation of the building were cornered 3 feet high and shadowy elbows. Grammy, Alan shouted, cupping his hands in a circle around his mouth. I need a computer and booze. What do you want? What do you want for it? I got magazines and a bunch of chicken bones. He waited and spied the streams of enforcers sliding in and out of the showers until one of them stopped and turned to him. It flowed in his direction from its quarter-mile distance in 2 seconds. Stopping inches from Alan's head, it wagged a finger at him. Oh, why not? Offer not good enough? Here, I'll sell you the rest of my I'll sell you the rest of my chest, he said, beginning to unstring the buttons. The hand formed a fist and shook left and right. Then what? What do you want from me, Graham? So it looks like this guy thinks that the hands are all part of Grammy. The hand shook left and right again. No sell. Why not? Alan pleaded, hands upturned. I got good goods here for yours. Ain't no reason you shouldn't be selling to me. Suddenly, 5 other hands joined the party, all grouped together a few feet from Alan's conversant. The metacarpal actors formed wriggly serpent-like shapes and began wobbling toward the conversant hand. The protagonist's digit formed a claw-like mouth and began bashing the other hand down until they lay in a black shadowy pool on the ground. After a second, they rose back to the eye level and glared as well as hands could glare at him. Yes, the rat's nest canon. Basically, the global occult coalition seriously killed God, and reality is slowly falling apart, and the SCP Foundation is trying to cover it up. I see. The tricky people, what's the big deal? They're a nuisance. They're not even aware like us humans are. He paused, taking a deep breath. Listen, what do I have to do so I can trade with you again? I ain't got all day. The hands went limp in a moment and then turned northeast. After about 5 seconds, another hand carrying a tiny strip of paper appeared. They grabbed Alan's hand and puppeteered him to read it. Hey guys, easy. I can move my own. Now what's this say? Two hands clapped together silently as he scanned the words. No. A hand shaped like head nodded slowly. It had to be done if they were to bother. Grammy, no! The hands grabbed him by the feet, flipping him onto his back. They dragged him kicking and screaming down the parking lot, and he crashed through the doors of the vacant old department store. Luckily, this all happened within a few moments, and he would only notice the trail of blood from his scraped back and the ensuing pain when he was when he was several blows into his weapon. Oh boy. So this is basically a grandma that was taught to like beat a child to do, to like how it's to make them do what she wants. Alan, his face in that way is like saying like, "Oh, you can do better. You're better than this." Yeah, okay. Alan, his face blue with bruising and his back fused with the congealed blood on his shirt, stumbled out of the smart mud. He would not be able to sit down for a day or two. Never again, Alan coughed, spitting blood on the pavement. Never again do I do business in this town, you ass. You hear me? Cunt. Hear me, you A hand slapped him hard in the face. He drew blood, digging his teeth into the tongue. If he wanted to trade in this town, he needed to be good, and that meant no cursing. He also needed the alcohol for his thrash, and to forget that this day ever happened, he needed the hard stuff. Fudge faces. How Grammy knew he was cursing or killing more or less friendly monsters, he could only guess at. She just seemed to know. Sometimes he wondered what she did to really bad people. It probably had a lot to do with why the town was always so deserted. What do you want me to do? Said Alan softly. 5 seconds later, a hand floated slowly toward him, holding a strip of paper. Alan grabbed it gently from the finger grip, trying not to wince as his finger brushed up against the awkward squeezing feeling of the shadow's finger. Thanks. He held the paper up and squinted at the ridiculously tiny cursive script. Help your neighbors. What? That's vague. Grammy, please clarify. He massaged his temple and looked to the again moving conversant hand. It pointed off towards the direction of the sun setting. That's opposite direction of my house. You want me to go that way? Can I do it tomorrow? His eyes were wide in exasperation. Please. Being outside, well, you don't know, but being outside at night is suicide. I'm not exaggerating, Grammy. I could be stung by an ender and shrunk into nothing. I could get ablated by a shadow man. The hand went limp as if exhausted. A delivery hand arrived with another strip. Say your prayers. Grammy knows best. Are you serious? Are you freaking serious? The hand gave him a thumbs up. She was. He rubbed his face and slowly started toward downtown. As M-Force snuck its way back into his skull while it was still throbbing, Grammy sat behind his eyes to make sure he wasn't making an ass of himself when he rescued his future friend. Alright. And that's Grammy knows best. Damn. I'm gonna be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. Going to the bathroom real quick. I'm gonna prepare the oven as well, because I got myself some Papa John's cinnamon bites, and I need to eat them. So they're cold now because they're from yesterday still. So might as well eat out the oven. And then after this is all done, have myself a sweet snack. It's a confusing one for me. I had to read it twice before I actually understood what was going on. Okay, let's see here. It's called the Trans-Informational Tomb of Asa Raleigh. Okay. Euclid, 4th Euclid now. SCP-518 is to be monitored by a field research team consisting of at least 3 staff and 1 project lead, supplemented by 2 security staff. This team shall be based at Remote Observation Site 18, 3 kilometers from SCP-518. And an automated security perimeter surrounding SCP-518 is to be established and maintained. 1 physical copy of -1 is authorized to exist at any given time for the purpose of research. This copy is to be kept at all times in an opaque protective sleeve, sealed in a locked container and kept in storage locker 742 in restricted access wing 1 of Site 93. 1 electronic copy is permitted to be accessible from authorized terminals at Site 93 and Remote Observation Site 18. Any authorized instances of SCP-518-1 discovered by Foundation personnel are to be destroyed immediately. Okay, description. SCP-518 is a localized anomalous phenomenon catalyzed by the dissemination and exposure of -1. SCP-518 currently a complex in a small valley consisting of 11 wooden structures in a varying states of repair, designed and built in the style of structure common in newly settled areas of the American West during the mid-19th century. These structures are arranged in a manner inconsistent with an established settlement. Buildings are arranged in a roughly circular pattern with no regard to road systems or natural topography. 1 structure is currently located on top of a creek. SCP-518 is located in a rural Deschutes County, Oregon, United States, in the vicinity of the Metolius River. Now, -1 is a short narrative first documented upon the initial exploration of SCP-518, so the exploration log 518-1. Whenever -1 is read in its entirety by a sapient comprehending individual, SCP-518 undergoes spontaneous physical changes. In most cases, these changes entail the movement of structures in relation to each other, rearrangement of the interior features of these structures, and a small amount of subsidence in the immediate geographic vicinity, of SCP-518. I am slowly getting tired. In some cases, readings of -1 will cause new structures to appear, or existing structures to simply cease to exist. Research has determined that these physical changes occurred either instantaneously or at speeds beyond the observation capability of current technology. So from what I understand so far, it basically shifts settlements. It just a settlement can suddenly appear or disappear or rearrange itself, from what I understand so far. The buildings that make up SCP-518 superficially resemble commonly found structures of the region during the 1850s and 1860s. In addition to several houses, there are currently a barn, a 3-story hotel, and a sawmill. However, the interior of these structures are typically of traditional dwellings and establishments. Features such as walls, floors, and ceilings tend to be arbitrarily constructed. Houses have been observed to have rooms with no doors, non-level floors. One dwelling is constructed with a floor at a 37-degree angle, ceilings of a height of 1 meter or less, etc. Furniture and household items typically of the period are also present, but are arranged haphazardly. In several cases, chairs and beds have been observed nailed to the wall and see. Okay, so like the entire interior is just fucked. it's just a Dali painting inside. The other buildings contain no features inside, while the barn merely covers an open shaft extending to the depths of 120 meters. The land area comprising SCP-518 is gradually undergoing conversion into a sinkhole and is currently experiencing subsidence at a rate of approximately 2.2 to 3 meters per -1 event. Okay, so every time an event happens, it just sinks deeper. Current projections estimate that SCP-518 will be completely submerged by the local wafer table after 25 to 30 30 additional -1 events. Below is a partial transcript of SCP-518-1. This is the last will and testament of me as a Rutledge of Great Hollow, Kentucky. Recovered records from Chesapeake County, Kentucky confirms an individual of that name and time period. However, no records of such a location exist at this time. Okay, in Kentucky, made this 11th day of February 1859. I bequeath no material possessions, having none. Data redacted. Though my soul be condemned to hell for what happened here, I direct that my final wishes be carried out in full. This place and all that happened here shall be forgotten by man and buried under the earth until the day of judgment. Through nothing is hidden from the Almighty. This being the only atonement I can now offer, I will it thus. By the power left to me, which I pray is still sufficient to this task, let this testament be the means to conceal my shame, and let the tools of remembrance be turned to the act of forgetting. May Providence hasten the vanishing of this place from the earth. Since the establishment of containment, the Foundation has documented 15 spontaneous changes in the composition of SCP-518 that can be reasonably traced to the reading of -1. Of these incidents, 13 have occurred under the controlled research conditions. Exploration log -1, or exploration log 1. Upon initial containment in February of 1992 and the establishment of remote observation site 18, staff undertook an initial exploration of SCP-518. At the time, SCP-518 consists of 9 structures and include a church and a schoolhouse that do not currently exist. The sawmill structure and 2 current houses had not yet manifested. A team consisting of 4 D-class personnel were dispatched to the site, equipped with 2-way radios, flashlights, water emergency rations, crowbars, and a camcorder. Dr. Lupe Carmona, then the research director for SCP-518, supervised the exploration from remote observation site 18. Selected transcripts are reproduced below. Dr. Carmona, supplies have been checked and accounted for. All personnel present. D 328995. Do you read me? Copy. Time is 14 hours or 14.5 hours. Please proceed to the first structure in your field of view. D94237. Please keep the camcorder trained to your front in order to maintain our video feed. Copy. Video feed shows exploration team proceeding to an SCP-518-A structure resembling a house. Team reaches the front door and attempts to enter. Door is locked. It won't budge. You are authorized to force entry. D22343 and 94237. Force door open with a crowbar. It's pretty dark in there. Illuminate the area and get video of the interior. Flashlights from off-camera reveal that the interior of the structure is typically of a structure of the apparent time period, with the exception of a dresser mounted on the ceiling and a floor sloping at a pronounced angle towards the southern wall. You seeing this? Affirmative. Please. In retrospect, SCP does seem pretty simple. It's fine. Like sometimes, you read something like this and you think there's like a deeper meaning behind it or something, like a deeper understanding, but then like you read it again, you're like, oh wait, hold on. basically it's just houses that appear, and the inside is just really, really weird. Like the furniture and the floor and the walls and the ceiling, they're all kind of off. You see this affirmative? Please proceed carefully into the house and document the surroundings. After 6 minutes and 58 seconds of visual documentation, a small door in the northwest corner of the structure is visible in the floor. D48983, please open the door in your field of view and document your findings. Copy. D48983 opens the hatch in the floor. After other exploration members illuminate the opening, a crawl space is revealed to be accessible through the hatch. D48983 and D22343, please proceed into the space in front of you. I do not, man, I think, please proceed into the space in front of you. Copy. D22343 and D48983 take the camcorder and the flashlights into the crawl space. All indications are that it is an ordinary crawl space until D22343 pauses. You stopped. Have you found anything? There's holes all over the place in here. Almost sprained my damn ankle. Please describe what you see in detail. There's a bunch of little rectangular holes in the dirt here, about 50 centimeters or so long, maybe a little bigger, narrow. Is there anything in the holes? Hold on, let me take a look. It's what is that? D48983 positions the camcorder over D22343's shoulder. God damn those numbers. D48983 appear to be handling an undetermined object while crouched over a hole. What are you handling? Please refrain from any unnecessary forensic contamination. It's nothing. There's nothing in any of these. I don't believe it's necessary to remind you of the terms of your. It's nothing. There's nothing here. Please spend another few minutes documenting the space and then proceed to the next staging point. View feed indicates that the floor of the crawl space is filled with dozens of holes corresponding to D22343's description. D48983 and D22343 then rejoin the other exploration members without incident and leave the structure. Video feed is turned off until the exploration team reaches the church structure, then present at SCP-518. Dr. Carmona orders the team to proceed inside, where they discover an entirely empty structure. The exploration team documents the interior until D32995 pauses at the southwestern wall. D32995, do you have any observation? There's some writing on the wall over here. Hey, get a camcorder over here. Is the writing legible? Mostly, it's kind of smudged in some places. It looks like it's written in suit. Here, let's get the video feed in here. Camcorder is brought to the writing and identified later as an instance of -1. This is the last will and testament of me. Not sure what this is. Please describe it as best as you can. Copy that. D32995 attempts to copy down -1 on a small notepad. Discussion occurs between D29995, D22343, and 94237 as to possible word choices for a smudged portion of the original text. After approximately 25 minutes, D23995. I don't know why saying 32 so fast. Just I think it's because I'm tired now. It throws me out of the loop. Finishes writing and appears to read his notes. A low rumbling sound immediately starts, and the camcorder appears to start shaking. What the hell? What's going on? Shit! What's happening there? We gotta get out of here now! Permission to abort denied. Stand by, and D48983 can be heard in the background to be softly laughing. An unidentified member of the exploration team starts screaming. A loud crashing noise is heard before audio and video contact is lost. D32995, do you read? What's going on in there? Do you read? And transcript. So yeah, basically the house. So there are certain houses, and some of them just seem to like pop up or destroy itself and pop up again, as long as you read the transcript. And even the interior is All sorts of messed up. Interesting. Not what I expected. I did not expect. When I see the first picture, I was like, oh, it must be like just one house, and it looks like a haunted house almost, like an abandoned haunted place. But the fact that this place can basically just collapse and maybe come back and all that stuff, depending on who. I wonder if there's like a certain order of which house gets what happened to them and so on and so forth. All right, last one. I hope it's short because I'm getting a bit exhausted. Okay, I see there's a 140 one SCP-145 in there, which is man absorbing phone. Yes. Here we go. Cheeky phone booth. Of course. That is the second lowest rating we got, and this is the fourth safe. We had 2 Ketas, 4 safes, and 4 Euclids in the 510s. Special containment procedure SCP-519 is to be kept. Yes, I did. I read all of them. Of course, that was the first one I read, and that was a long time ago. SCP-519 is to be kept in a standard storing room, 5x5 or 5 meters square, in size. It must not be connected to a phone line unless experiments are being performed. This is a second phone booth SCP, I believe. The other one was like one that I made a video about, where like if you talk to it, you get information that you shouldn't know. SCP-519 is a Model 7 Southwestern Bell phone box with heavy graffiti, serial number, blank. Its displayed phone number matches that which it would have if it were in service. It was recovered from an abandoned mall in blank, Missouri, following rumors of a talking telephone box. That's always nice to know. When the handset is lifted, the user is greeted with variations according to the season and time of day by a voice asking for the correspondent name or phone number. The voice is of indeterminate gender, though most users perceive it to belong to the opposite gender. Dialing the desired number instead of speaking to the handset causes the voice to become petulant. Any person may be requested as long as the phone connection to a phone dedicated to the person can be reasonably established. Phones called may include blacklisted numbers and similar phones that are not supposed to receive calls, etc. Should that be the only phone used by the person on a regular basis, once a number with the exception of 188 and 911, etc. 911. Excuse me. Or a person has been requested the appropriate rate, which are accurate as of 19 blank when the mall was abandoned, will be demanded before further actions. Vocabulary and speech patterns of the voice vary greatly, but appear to roughly match those of the user, with a few exceptions. During the entire conversation, the user will never directly hear the person they have called, instead having their speech reported. During the entire conversation, the user will never directly hear the person that they have called, instead having the speech reported by the voice. Also, like as if like somebody else gets to hear it first and then tells you what they said. The conversation appeared normal from the other end of the line, with speech addressed to the SCP not heard. What is heard, however, might not reflect the exact words used by the speaker. The words will often comment profusely on the intent of the other speakers and even mock the user in a devil angel on the shoulder fashion. It's overall what's my favorite? My favorite is S. Andrew Sorn's proposal, the database. Just because of those lines, we found out that there is a god, and it's a bunch of horror writers. I think my favorite, I believe, I really like the one, I believe it's the Ouroboros, but especially like specifically like I believe it's all called the Ouroboros, but specifically part 4, where we have this whole story of how they are going after each individual O5 member, and each one has like a different ability and all that, and it was really cool to read. I really liked reading that and just seeing like how they overcome each individual opponent. That was like a good like fantasy, almost like a fantasy novel type thing, of like a normal human being having to deal with superhumans. So I like that one. Its overall personality varies from sarcastic and misleading in reporting to bubbly and ridiculously willing to trust in the interlocutor. Interrogating the voice itself makes it grow increasingly aggressive in its refusal to answer, always along the line of if I'm only there to repeat what people say, until the conversation is cut in a busy line tone begins playing at a deafening level. Hitting or damaging the box will lead to the same result, although it has displayed the ability to discern whether or not the speaker is responsible for such actions. Only well-defined persons or numbers. I'm gonna put it in the oven now. I'm getting kind of hungry. Oh, look at that! I'm not sure if I'm holding it correctly. Good, like 8 minutes should be good to get those things warm and nice and tasty. Only well-defined persons or numbers are accepted. Random or purposely invented names will fail, but not, for example, reading a random name from a phone book. One can request family members by relation rather than name. My mother, my cousin, and even if there are several possible, the intended recipient will be called. Requests such as that girl I met yesterday, unless a number or name. Requests such as that girl I met yesterday, unless a number or name unknown, will be sneered at by the voice. Okay, sassy. Requests for fictional characters will lead variously to the phone reaching actors who permanently played the character, homonyms, or the creator of the characters. Calls can only be done to a phone line that can be described as normal for that person, such as a house phone, cell phone, or office work. Although the line being blacklisted is not an impediment, phone calls have carried through strictly internal systems on several occasions. Similarly, SCP-519 appears to bypass all automated phone systems to the point of immediately connecting the desired department of a company, even if only the phone number was requested. It is also able to connect the phone to the phones in locations where no signal should be able to reach. And then when requested call SCP-145, SCP-519 retorted that that's line occupied, dude, always was, and refused to expound further. Incident 519A on blank agent blank unexpectedly requested to call SCP-400 ARC, upon which the voice commented, "Oh boy," before apparently establishing a connection. Dr. Blank immediately ended the experiment, and both were later disciplined when it was found that SCP 400 arc had begun, meaning at the same time the connection was established. And that's that. We finished that. Always has been. We are finished with the SCP-510s, the 510s. We finished with that. That was some good stuff in there, and really feel like. First of all, the first 10 in the 500 were already such a good ones, like the Panacea, Monk's Greed, the Surrogate Heart, and all that stuff. That was pretty good stuff. That's a really strong start for the 500. And this, and what we just had now, I would say are just really good. In general, all these ones are pretty good SCPs. I would say my favorite SCP from the 510s would be the Cowbell. I think that's like generally terrifying. It's short and sweet. It just brings it home what it does, and it just makes it's just scary. Afterwards, I would say, yep, a Flock of Doves and the Basement Cat. Yeah, I would say, yep, Cowbell, and then I would say Grammy Nose is second, and then Basement Cat. Yes, I think those are my top three. I think Grammy Nose is just. It's just so violent. It's just so mean-spirited. Like it literally gives you a note that's like a fortune that basically talks shit about you in a very backhanded way. Like, oh, you could do better. You're doing good, but you could do better. Like it's like very like disapproving. Like, oh yeah, you're not at your best yet. And then next thing you know, you get the absolutely lights kicked out of you. Just punched till you don't see shit or can't move anymore. It's just so violent, but I think it's kind of fun. I think it's also really funny. But okay, that was my SCP live stream. I will put this on private for now because I have to like find out what time I read which SCP, which in the future I should probably actually have a notebook ready. I would look at the time and be like, okay, this is the time when I reach that point, so I can, because I still need to make this a timestamp, because just to make it easier, for people to find out which SCP was read when. But yeah. Amy, thank you very much for joining in. Thank you very much for commenting so much, and thank you for the jokes. I had a good time with you reading through this, and now I just gotta think if I'm gonna keep doing this as a live stream or if I'm gonna keep doing this as a video. I really have to I gotta consider this for myself. Like whatever, live streaming would be easier, but videos would also just make it easier to spend more time on it, because I could just record a whole bunch, Live streaming, like you have to like time it well that it works for people, while recording I can just literally just record and upload it eventually. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed. Next time I might add a bit more ambient, a bit more atmosphere, maybe like some music that works for like the SCP, like some sort of like dark sci-fi type of stuff, and so on and so forth, just to like make it have a bit more personality, So yeah, but for now, I would say it's time for me to go. I am super tired. I'm exhausted. I'm gonna eat that shit, go watch some stuff, and then head up to bed. Thank you very much for watching, and for anybody who watches in the future, who hasn't joined the live stream, thank you very much to get this far. Hopefully you got this far. And I hope you all enjoyed this SCP package that was with you. And to you, Amy, I wish you a good night, good day. I don't know what time it is.